G'day everyone. Today we're going to do a review of the 2018 RMX450. Had the bike for a couple of weeks now and thought I would share some of the good and bad of the bike. So first off, I'm a shorter rider, short inseam, so the bike is definitely a little high for me. I have adjusted the preload to the softest setting to create the most amount of sag, and I'm still struggling to get both feet down. So I'm actually going to be shaving the seat, which I'll show in a separate video, to get the ride height down a bit. And if that doesn't work, unfortunately, I'll have to go to a lowering link. The bike itself, overall, I really like it. Nice, smooth, linear power band. Lots of nice low-end torque. The bike comes with a throttle restrictor, which I've taken out, and it comes with a baffle on the back of the bike, which is for emission standards for California primarily. So I've kept that in because the bike is already set fairly lean, and by removing that, it just makes it leaner. And then, of course, there's a big restrictor in the airbox, which you can remove, which will make it leaner again. So I've kept all that in place. The bike for me is plenty powerful enough and plenty responsive enough. So I've just kept that in place. The brakes are quite solid, great tires on the bike that comes stock. I have good control in pretty much all types of condition. Gets a little slippery in the mud, but for the most part it's very good. The biggest problem that I have with the bike is in the gearing. The sprocket size is geared, in my estimation, too high for enduro type riding, especially on real tight trails. Comes with a 13 front sprocket and a 51 rear. From what I read, you cannot change the front sprocket any smaller because there's restrictions with clearances, and the chain actually rubs in the casing. I didn't want to take a chance and order it based on a couple of reviews that I've already seen confirming that, so I just went with the biggest sprocket available that I could find, which is a 53 in the back. And it has slowed it down somewhat. When I used to let the clutch out without throttle input, it would do 12 miles an hour. Now it's down to about 6 or 7. But if you're just snaking along and give it a sudden shot of throttle, the bike will still stall out. So that being said, that's about the best I can get at this point. So lots of clutch control is needed to really get this down to a crawl. The clutch effort itself is fairly stiff in my estimation. Really hard to do one finger control. Better with two on the lever. But certainly manageable. The other thing I didn't like with the bike is that you have to pull in the clutch in order to start it, even in neutral. So the RMX lever that comes with it has a little safety stop built in, which I have since removed. There it is there. This unit right here. There's a little spring on the end of it, and the lever would depress that, and that would allow it to start. So I actually removed the lever and put on a RMZ lever, which doesn't have that. So now I can start it in neutral without having to pull in the clutch. Fuel range is not great. I believe it's only a 1.5 gallon tank, and you're not able to go a great distance on it. I mean, if you're looking to do 40 miles on a tank, I think you'd be very hard pressed to do so. To give you an example, I did a trip reset the other day. I am at 8.1 miles. The gas tank was filled right to the brim, and I am showing, you know, it looks to me very close to being half. I will update it once I get down to the low fuel light to see how many miles I can actually get, but I'm thinking if you can do 25 to 30, it'd probably be about its limit. The gauge itself is kind of nice. It does an hour meter. It has a speedometer. It has trip 1 and 2, which is a nice feature. Other than that, the bike is great really solid on the suspension. You pound through the bumps nicely, it soaks everything up. Rear suspension is good as well. Power delivery is very nice. That pretty much summarizes the bike. So we're going to take it for a little tour and show you what it's like to ride on a real tight little single track that I have here on my own property. GoPro, stop recording.